like it, Pletz. What do you think? I like it.
Yeah, it's okay. We got our own like hold music, which is interesting. So
don't worry, the Bulldog song will be coming in when we talk football. Welcome in. This is Beware of Bulldogs. This is the live stream. Sunday night, 7 p.m. So whatever we can do to push the timer as people get in, Pletz, I'm all about it. So a little longer intro music, I'm in. Once we start talking football, though, don't worry. I will hit the Beware of Bulldogs intro song. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. Seems like it's been a little longer this weekend because we had a game Friday. So we're going to recap the Bulldogs beating the Wolfpack. The past two recaps have been rough, my friend. Rough because we've lost. Now we're back in the win column. We're going to talk about it, Caleb. But first, as everyone gets into the chat, welcome everyone. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. If you're a regular, I see you, Bradley, Bulldogs, Bob. What's going on? Make sure you subscribe, Caleb. But first, how was the weekend, my friend?
Weekend's really nice. Beautiful weather. Was obviously getting a Bulldog win on Friday was good. I had attended a nice wedding on Saturday night, so that was really nice. And then got to spend some time outside today and with the family. So overall, really good weekend.
It was very nice. I built a swing set for my son, so that's all he wants to do. So we just stand outside, and I push him on the swing, and there's a slide there as well. And he figured out he could push the cars down the slide. And for 2 hours today, I chased Hot Wheels. That's all I did. He sat at the top of the slide. It was great, though. We had a good time. But once he wanted to do it again later on in the day, I had to call in for backup. Ugh, man. Other than the Fresno State game, I didn't watch much football. I was too excited after Fresno winning, and I do have lots to say about this game, though, Caleb. I will say that. But how was the football viewing parties over the weekend?
It's kind of the same for me. I didn't get to watch a ton. I mean, I was for at least half the day I was kind of out in the country at the wedding and reception. So I did on my phone. I had Georgia, Texas with a couple of people huddled around me to see what was going on there. So that was kind of a surprise to see. Texas kind of have a bit of a stinker there in Georgia. Be able to take care of business there while throwing 3 picks. So kind of impressive there. But Mountain West scoreboard wise, I didn't get to watch anything. So, I mean, I saw that UNLV was down early to Oregon State and then ended up coming back. We can get on the scoreboard if you want to.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. We're going to go through scoreboard. We're going to go through the numbers. We're going to go through your guys' responses on social media. We got all of that in front of us. Caleb, you ready for this? Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it. It might get loud, everybody. Hello, Red Wave. Let's do this thing. Let's talk some football. I'm all about it, especially when we win. The week is just so much better. The weekend's so much better after we win. Now, some of the things we're going to talk about, I don't think a lot has changed, Caleb, other than the letter after the game, which is a W, which really is all that matters in the long run. Doesn't matter who you play as long as you beat them. Ask Georgia. They didn't look good at all. Carson Beck, boy, I had people texting me that he should be benched, but they won. We won. The real Bulldogs won. That's what matters. W's. Caleb, talk to me about your overall feeling after this win, getting back in the win column.
This whole game, I never felt comfortable. Obviously just sitting on the couch, I was comfortable, but feeling toward the game and the team, we weren't. we never really had the game like locked down, and especially in the fourth quarter, some interesting calls to go for it on fourth down and not take points. Um, yeah, it just felt like we were one play away from losing the whole game, and then thankfully this game that never came, and we ended up getting the win here. So yeah, I don't feel more encouraged going into this next game against San Jose. I think that's going to be an even tougher test. I mean, what I do feel good about is our defense made a really good second half adjustment, and obviously, shutting them out third and fourth quarter, that's big performance. So I do feel good about the defense, but yeah, offense still a huge question mark.
Coach Coyle and Coach Baxter took things personally after the past two games because special teams and defense were on fire. It was great. I enjoyed watching them. Offense has a long way to go. We're going to talk about all of it in a second, but I'm with you. It's kind of the same feeling that I had after Washington State. I feel like we played a pretty similar game. I mean, we didn't have the turnovers that we usually have, which was nice. We did have one, but we tend to the past two games we lose this game. If we play like we did the past two games, we throw this game away. Defensively, though, we looked really strong. Offense did just enough. Special teams helped us out tremendously. So I really can't say we won this game because of our offense. I don't think anyone has ever said that over the weekend. Looks like more so defense and special teams. So, yeah, I'm not encouraged by our offense. I am encouraged by how our defense played, and Coach Baxter is making sure he's on top of special teams because he found the weakness, and boy, did we exploit it. I'm starting to think, what the heck is Nevada doing? What were they doing? Anything? I don't know. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. Caleb, let's talk numbers and players, and then what we usually do, we're going to run through the Mountain West scoreboard. No, we're going to do that at the end. Let's do it at the end. We're already talking Fresno State. We'll do that at the end, and then we'll get to you guys and what you say before the scoreboard. Numbers. Mikey Keene, 13 for 20, 190 yards, 1 interception, no tutties. Caleb, thoughts on Mikey Keene?
He made a lot of decent throws and had some questionable ones. The interception, I mean, if he's throwing that ball away, that needs to be in the first row of the stands, or it needs to be at the running back's feet and just not make it catchable. So, I mean, that was another kind of unacceptable throw there, and I actually saw Skipper grab Mikey after that, and it looked like he was kind of getting on him, which is kind of surprising because we haven't really seen Skipper, I guess, kind of chew into a guy on the sideline. So kind of surprising, too, for the defensive-minded head coach to kind of have that to say to the quarterback. But other than that, I mean, he had I think it was in the second half, third down play, he had Mac over the middle, like stepped up in the pocket, like, okay, this is looking good, and just threw a rocket like way behind him, like totally uncatchable. That could have sustained the drive, and maybe Dogs could get points there. But overall, did enough, to get it done. But I mean, you could tell towards the end of the game. I mean, I don't know who was deciding this, but I mean, it was ultra conservative. After the interception, I mean, Mikey hardly threw after that. I mean, it was all Gilliam or Donaldson if he was in, but I mean, it was run. And we're just going to chew this clock. So it seems like confidence towards the end of the game, at least from the coaching staff, was very low in terms of quarterback play.
There's a few things we can nitpick, but I'm actually happy with how Mikey played. Other than the interception, right, obviously, but that comes with the game and comes with Mikey. We know it's going to happen. I'm actually happy with Mikey. Pass pro was horrendous. It was so bad. Every time he stepped back, I would like to go back and watch it again. Almost every time he stepped back, he was under pressure. It was really bad. So with what Mikey had in front of him, I thought he did a pretty good job. I mean, he started the game 5 for 5, I believe, 6 for 6, even. May have been more than that. The first drive, he was 6 for 6, and we got a field goal. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the second drive. 7 for 7, 8 for 8. I mean, look, I thought the beginning of the first half, Mikey Keene looked fine. But then we did get very conservative, and we needed to. I thought that we moved the ball fine on the ground. And our backs are very good. Let's feed them. But I got nothing against Mikey this game. Everything I have is with the O-line and their pass pro, because it was pretty bad. Pretty bad. So like that has to get better. I saw Mikey get better this game, though. I'll put it that way. Even if because I've talked to some people, like, Mikey wasn't good. What I will say, and the conversation I had at church today was Mikey got better. So, or I should say, I didn't go to church. Conversation with people from church. Mikey got better. Okay. So with Mikey, well, Caleb, first, do you have any disagreements with that?
I don't disagree about the offensive line play. I mean, but that's been the same thing all season. I mean, I didn't notice it being worse than in previous weeks, but maybe I wasn't looking for it too closely. But I don't know. It seemed like kind of the same performance. I did notice him step up in the pocket a couple more times this game. So I guess I should give him some credit there. And I think only took a couple sacks. And so, yeah, I guess there were some improvements there. Had a pretty hilarious scramble for 2 yards and then slid where it looked like he did still have some green grass in front of him. But that was a very funny, positive rushing play for Mikey. That one made me laugh when he slid.
He tends to do that often. He'll slide with he could go another 3 yards or so. Okay, running the ball. Elijah Gilliam led the team with 20 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bryson Donaldson carried the ball 9 times for 52 yards. I think that might be his career high right now. Arsenault carried the ball 2 for 9. Nathan Acevedo carried the ball once for 8 yards. Joshua Wood, we saw him carry the ball twice. He did score a touchdown. What did you think with the amount of what did you think about the running game? 2, the amount of people carrying the ball. Did you like that?
Yeah, I think probably the main criticism most people probably are going to have is not having Donaldson get more touches. But when you see Gilliam's production, and it's not like he was getting tackled in the backfield, he was really productive today. And so it's kind of hard to justify making that change when he's solidified himself as that backup to now stepping in with Sherrod's absence. He's the guy that should be getting most of those carries, but it is a little frustrating when you see Donaldson come in like, wow, okay, he's averaging maybe 3 yards more a carry on limited sample size. So, but other than that, I think Gilliam had a really strong game, and I'm really happy with how we were able to run the ball. I texted a couple of people during the game. It's like, wow, it's fun when we can actually run the ball successfully. Like, I kind of forgot what that feels like as a fan. So that was one of my main takeaways from our running performance.
That was great. Bryson averaged almost 6 yards a carry. When he runs with the ball, it's so encouraging to me because because he's a freshman, but 2, the mentality that he runs with. Same with Elijah. He runs kind of the same way. Both of them made great moves, spinning off tacklers. Oh man, it was fun to watch that running game. Before I get to wide receivers, let me catch up on what everybody's saying. Keen interception was stupid one. At this point, it's part of the game. Needs to be accounted for. What's going on, Bulldogs? Bob, see you. Chris Lake, what's going on? I think Keene is having a hard time seeing over the O-line. I agree. We are much better at running the ball without Sherrod. Keep feeding Elijah and Bryson. Caleb, I don't, was it in the preview you brought it up or maybe the recap against Washington State? But you said you kind of agreed with this and said that Malik should be used for certain packages.
Mm-hmm.
Get him outside in space. He's our speed back. But when we're running the ball, we're running it with Elijah and Bryson. And I agree with Bulldogs Bob. I agree with what you said. After watching this game, I wasn't too sure when you said it last week. But after watching this game, I'm on board. Ricky says, speaking of Keene, best game since New Mexico State. I agree. Not nowhere where we want him, but granted, O-line. He did play better. Greg, what's going on, Greg? Caleb, are you guys going to be at Crow and Wolf this Friday? Haven't spoken to Caleb about it. Haven't gotten an invite from anybody going to Crow and Wolf, but we might have to. I should say though, I am on baby watch, so that's all up in the air. If the baby shows up, sorry, Greg, I'm not going to be there. That would be a long conversation with my wife.
Yeah, that's definitely an important day for you. I don't know. I wasn't aware that there was something going on at Crow and Wolf on Friday. So, we haven't looked into the homecoming festivities this year. And, yeah, we certainly have not been invited by anyone.
Sam Droid, well, Greg's inviting us, sounds like.
That's true. That's true.
Sam Droid 559, what's going on? Bulldog Born, what's going on? Good to see you guys here. Sam Droid says, bad play calling. We look like a Pat Hill team again. I do like running the ball successfully, though, and tough nose. But our O-line pass pro has got to be better. Let's move to wide receivers. Let's keep going. Elijah Gilliam led the team in yards through the receiving wise. 2 receptions for 74 yards. He had a 71-yarder. That was a long. Magdalena, 4 for 45, had some nice catches in there. Bailed Mikey out a couple times. Raylan Sharp, 2 for 37. Nathan Acevedo, 2 for 26. Jalen Moss, 2 for 7. And Richie Anderson, 1 reception for 1 yard. Caleb, thoughts on the receivers and our passing game?
Well, the Gilliam screen certainly helped pad Mikey's stats. I mean, that's a 71-yarder. That really helped get his numbers up. But besides that, Mac looked really good early. And then when kind of abandoned the passing game, it kind of obviously stopped for all the receivers. But kind of surprising, not a great showing from Jalen Moss. I mean, just didn't really get the targets too. So kind of tough. And I think he got pulled off of kick return duty this week. So a little bit of repercussions from last week's performance. But I think the highlight in receiving game had to be Magdalena, and Sharp had a really clutch one too. So limited in really what we can talk about there, just because not a whole lot of completions. What Mikey had 13 completions on the day. Yeah. If I'm going to highlight somebody, it's going to be Mac, because Mac we have seen is the guy that Mikey goes to when he's in trouble, and he's come up with some big catches. So that was huge. I was really happy to see that. And granted, he doesn't have a whole lot of time to throw the ball, Mikey, so we got to get rid of it. Max speedster, so either he's going deep or he's got a quick route, and he's made some great catches. I thought they did fine for what was out there and the opportunities that they had. They took advantage of it. I think. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think is Jalen Moss's role for the rest of the season? That's tough. He's not really the deep threat, because that's kind of more Mac's role. I mean, not that he can't catch a deep ball, but I mean, he kind of has to be the intermediate possession guy, with Josiah Freeman likely done for the year. we're kind of lacking the big body target, and Jalen Moss has the ability to play bigger than he physically is. So I mean, he needs to be the 6 to 15 yard intermediate guy, and usually he's really sure-handed. I mean, his one catch they did have was a good catch over the middle, and so I think that's probably going to be his role, just kind of in that intermediate passing range.
I'm going to be interested to see how teams play them now. Granted, if our O-line can't block and can't give Mikey time, it's not going to matter, and Mikey's got to make the right read. But what I saw early was Nevada sit in zone. I also saw us sit in zone a lot based off their – we'll get to defense. But anyways, are they going to man up our guys? And who are they going to shade? Who are the safeties going to shade and move over to? I'm curious because Mac is looking like the guy now. So does that open things up for Jalen the rest of this season?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I think that the offense is certainly better when there's 4 threats out there and not just one. So hopefully that can develop. Yeah.
I see Spencer's here. What's going on, Spencer? I saw somebody else. Tim's here. Tim Soyev. Bulldogs Bob says Sherrod isn't a big guy who's not going to carry Min on his back for an extra 2 yards. Rest him until healthy. I agree. Where would Keen be if not for Mac?
Yeah,
be in a rough spot. Spencer says that Jalen should be Mr. Target Getter, leading the team in targets. I think it's going to happen now. Based off of how Mac has been playing, I think you're going to see a lot more Jalen Moss. And I wouldn't be surprised if Raylan Sharp is there too, just because the season that Mac is having. But hey, I mean, Mac could continue as well. I'm not going to complain. Our wide receiver depth will overwhelm teams in the Mountain West Conference if they try man on man. I agree. There's no reason. And because they sit back in the zone, I think we should be very effective. Just because of how good our guys are and the options that we have, we should be really effective. But I think it all comes down to the O-line. If we see a lot of zone, it's up to the O-line. And, what we're going to get is we're going to get a lot of zone blitzing. And like what we saw against UNLV. And we struggled against that. So, I don't know. We're going to see. Sierra Nevada, Sam, what's going on, man? We've got a big game Saturday, a meaningful game in late October. Hope we get 40K. I hear that the tickets are starting to sell like crazy for the San Jose State game. Should be good. Let's continue, Caleb.
Usually, sorry, go ahead.
No. Go.
No, just usually homecoming, there's a decent crowd, and it's an earlier kick. I think it's 5 o'clock kickoff this week. So hopefully families can make it happen if they're not doing other Halloween or fall activities on a Saturday.
Defense, Caleb. Malachi Langley, he looked great. 13 total tackles, 2 sacks, led the team in tackles. We saw Devo. Heard Devo's name a couple times. He had a sack. Phoenix Jackson was around the ball a lot. He had a sack. Kosi had a TFL. Jazon Jax, who I haven't heard a whole lot of this year, he had half a TFL along with Kavika Bumgardner. We had a couple, I thought our pass defense was fine. We saw a lot of R.L. Miller out there. Caleb, thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, this was a huge game for Malachi, and this is the kind of game you expect from the senior leader. He's a guy that's been in the program for a long time. So, really good to see him step up and really make some big plays. So that was huge. And Devo finally getting a sack on the board this season. I think that he's probably taken a lot of the pressure off of some of the other guys in the line this year. But yeah, we're just kind of waiting for that to translate into actual, stats logging. So finally good to see him get a sack and get a little celebration there on the field. Early on, the secondary was giving up some stuff. I mean, Cam slipped on the one that he got burned on early. So can't really fault him for that, but that's all part of the game. So yeah, it's certainly a really strong shift in the second half. So yeah, really good to see that. But I feel like Malachi is kind of the big name here. I mean, he was cleanup crew, and just really saw a game from him.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw first play of the game, what we were going to get. They had a quarterback keeper, and Malachi was on it. I mean, granted, he ran for 11 yards on that play, but I think it was kind of like that's what they're going to hit us with. If they're going to beat us with something, that's what they were going to beat us with. And Malachi's there. He's read it first play, get in the zone, take that first punch, and let's play. Now, Caleb, did you notice, and I may be wrong, maybe reading into this too much, but I feel like teams are starting to pick on Hamilton a little more. Now, the big play, Cam slipped, but I should say they're targeting Hamilton's guy more often than not.
Yeah, I would say Hamilton and Julian Neal. I feel like if Julian Neal's on the field, they're pretty much always going to go to him. And Neal got away with a couple pass interference calls. Just maybe we'll talk officiating later, but I feel like the Dogs definitely got the benefit of the doubt on a lot of calls this game, and a lot more win against Nevada. But Neal also had a couple good, pass breakups, and so I think you're right there that Cam doesn't get a ton thrown at him unless he slips or does actually get really burnt. But otherwise, they're just looking to the other side of the field.
Yeah, and there were a few times you could tell there was some miscommunication. People not getting over where they should be, or they didn't know. But other than that, other than early on, I thought they were solid. A defense. I saw some comments in here. Well, let's just start reading through them. Caleb, but okay, well, I'll go back. Spencer says, I will say this for our defense. Foreman has been very underwhelming so far this year. Now, I will say Nevada's left tackle was like their best player. I wasn't paying attention to if Corey was on his side, lining up on his side most of the time, but I do know Corey lines up on the offense's left more so than not. I'm trying to remember the video I watched. He was on their right. But either way, looking at this season as a whole, I have been expecting a lot more from Corey. Caleb, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of the opposite, actually. I mean, I had rock bottom expectations for Corey. So just that we're getting some production, I'm taking as a positive. I mean, he's forced a couple fumbles this year and had a couple big sacks. So
he's got a lot of pressures, actually.
Yeah. So I think that he's a very good rotational, edge rusher, and we'd certainly need that with some of the injuries that have gone on, mostly interior line. But I'm certainly glad that we have him rather than we don't. So yeah, I'm happy with Corey.
Yeah, I take back what I said. As I was thinking about it, yeah, I do see him chasing the quarterback around and flush him out of the pocket. So Bulldogs Bob says defense won the game. Outside of the second half at UNLV, they have been as good as advertised this season. Yes. Bud, what's going on? Good to see you here. Langley was huge. R.L. Miller made some good stops on the outside. Caleb, we saw him get that interception. I think it was against Washington State in the 2-point conversion. We saw a little bit of him before that. Now he played pretty much the entire game. Thoughts on R.L. Miller? I was really pleased.
Yeah, especially for a freshman. I don't know if he's a true freshman, but he might be a redshirt freshman. But I mean, there's an opening at Nickelback that someone has to fill, and Brock is hurt. Who's gonna be able to take on that role? And it seems like Miller is stepping up right now, and especially in the second half, being without Dean Clark because he got tossed for targeting.
Right.
I mean, it's huge for a young guy like that to step up. So I'm sure Coach JD Williams and Nelson, Nickelback coach, I'm sure that they're very pleased with the performance they got out of Miller.
Yes. Another thing we forgot, Caleb, that we tend to forget most recaps, the score. Fresno State did win 24-21. Spencer, I think Neil getting targeted more is probably a team saying we can't throw to Lockridge. I agree. Bulldogs, Bob, the secondary was burnt toast early on. They want to talk smack. They can't get burned. And then, so I will say I was happy with the defense. Once again, CV, Malachi, RL Miller, Phoenix Jackson, our linebackers. I mean, RL played nickel, but man, I'm really happy with them. And they're playing great. I really like watching them play. So if our defense can play like this, we're going to be in a lot of games. Now we just got to win the trenches on the offensive side of the ball. And I think after this game, we're going to – now, I've said this early on in the season, but I think Nevada was better than the teams than the New Mexico States of the world that we played.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so seeing this against Nevada offensively was a little better. I think we're better as in, okay, here's how we're going to move the ball the rest of the season. We're going to have to mix things up. We got to get the ball out of Mikey's hands quick, and then we have to establish the running game to keep the defense on their toes because we can't rely on the passing game. Otherwise, we're done. So if we can dominate on the ground and then have Mikey dink and dunk down the field, I'm fine with that. Special teams, Caleb. We talked about special teams. I mean, punt block was huge. Our punt return team, they did great. Was it twice? They forced a tackle. They tackled the punter.
Yeah.
In the first one, Dean should have had. I mean, they couldn't figure him out, and that was just in the first half. They couldn't figure our guys out. So, punt return team, they're getting something that I'm sure Baxter's bringing them something for practice.
Yeah, I think that was huge, especially in the first half because Dogs got short field and were able to actually score a touchdown. Second half ended up turning the ball over on downs and weren't able to capitalize and get points. But that was really strange plays. I mean, I don't think I've hardly ever seen like a punter get sacked, unless they like mishandle the snap or something. So to have that happen twice and Nevada not making an adjustment at halftime was honestly hilarious. So they probably don't even have a dedicated special teams coach or something. I mean, it's that bad. So, but credit to Baxter and staff for finding the weakness and attacking it. And I feel like that's a big part of the Fresno State's recipe for success right now is having positive plays on special teams. And when it's the opposite, it's really setting us behind. Credit to Clay Lawrence too. Had I know one good punt that I remember. I don't remember how many times he's kicked, but I know that the Lockridge down maybe it was two. He downed a couple down inside the 10 or the 5. So I think Lawrence is kind of setting in now, and I think it helps when he's punting from like the 30 or 40 and not like his own end zone. So not that there's a good time to punt, but they've been able to capitalize.
Hey, down 3 in the 20. It's pretty good. What did you think about Lynch knocking a 44-yarder through the uprights? That was nice.
That was nice. I mean, good to get back on track here. Dylan, a little bit less consistent this season than we saw last year. So good to knock it through out of elevation too. I think had a little help there and 3-for-3 on extra points. And we just can't be giving points away. So good that he was able to be perfect on Friday.
Well, and that was the first drive of the game where he knocked that through. And hey, we won by 3 points. That's the difference right there. It's
sure
pretty
is.
Good. So I'm after the 2 misses. Was that last week? 2 misses last week. Yeah, it was nice to see him punch this one in. Tim Sasoya says A+ for special teams. Nice to see Baxter helping Skip out on the sidelines. Yeah, they all need to work together. Everything. Bulldogs Bob says, were those punt blocks or sacked punts? What it is in the book, I don't know, but I'm gonna in my
both. Yeah, both. They went down as sacks and negative rushing yards for Nevada.
Good, perfect. All right, Caleb. Let's get to. I'm pulling up the X. You have Instagram. All right. So on X, you follow us at @beware_Bulldogs. Put up after the game your thoughts. So here we go. If they can single-use plastic, if they can manage to run the ball like that the rest of the way, we might be on to something. Was the pick a great play by the DB? Yes. Would it be better if we don't turn the ball over? Also, yes. Defense really brought its lunch pail. Got to get the Valley Trophy back. I agree. Yes and yes to all of those. Matt, defense really picked themselves up. Great to see O-line opening up holes for the running backs again. Like Caleb said, it's nice to be able to say those things. Don't remember the last time we said that. A win. Thank God for the defense in the second half. We did a lot to try to give away that game. Cortez Chris. Eddie. Okay, now I saw this from what Eddie said, and I want to get your guys' take on this in the chat and everything. The OC needs to kick rocks. If he loves these kids at all, please resign. I don't agree with that, Eddie. I actually don't agree with that yet. I think I want to let Pat McCann finish the season because I saw improvement in this game. Caleb, your thoughts?
I think that the first half was good. Yeah, first drive, it was like all passing. I mean, usually the first drive is completely scripted. So Mikey executed, and the plays were working for the most part, and ended up getting the field goal. But just kind of bizarre in the second half, and I was feeling like, man, what are we doing here? Like ultra conservative. So I'm more curious of whether that's coming from Skipper saying, hey, like, don't turn this ball over, just run the ball. Let's eat this clock up. We're going to win it tight. And so, yeah, I'm curious if there's being a limitation on McCann saying, hey, we're not being aggressive here. Keep it on the ground. So I don't know. I mean, really bizarre. I don't feel more confident this game with McCann play calling, but I don't really feel worse. So yeah, I guess I keep it a neutral.
The second drive that we had, I was really happy that our first touchdown. It was a 12-play, 86-yard drive. We ran the ball 8 times out of the 12 plays. That's what I want. That's what I like. I mean, I was really happy. To me, after watching this game, it's the execution of the plays. And I just watched the O-line, and we can't get the ball out of Mikey's hands. If we're running the ball for 2 yards every play, we're not getting there. That's not going to work. But the fact in that second drive, we put it was a beautiful drive we put together. I hadn't seen that in a long time, where it was methodical. We went down the field, ran the ball strong, overpowered them, punched it in, running the ball. I mean, gosh, that was a fun one, man.
So what do we think though late in the game when we're in the red zone and we ended up turning it over on downs? Because it seems like in short yardage, it's like a big question mark. Like how do we get the last 6 yards? Because if we're not able to run it, I mean, I don't feel confident throwing the ball, and obviously the one throw attempt on 4th down was not good. So I mean, how do you feel about short yardage or goal to go situation play calling?
All right, okay. I pulled up that drive. I'm gonna read it to you. Okay. So we got the ball at the 27, Nevada's 27.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Gilliam 1-yard run. Elijah Gilliam 3-yard run. Elijah Gilliam 4-yard run. Okay, now it's 4th and 2. We go for it. Elijah Gilliam, 4-yard run, first down. Next play, Elijah Gilliam, 11-yard run. We're on the 4. Okay. Then we go Elijah Gilliam, run for a loss of 1. Okay, not good. 2nd and goal from the 5, though. Okay, what do? We march Joshua Wood out there. He runs for a loss of 1. 3rd and goal from the 6, incomplete pass. And then 4th and goal from the 6, incomplete pass. You cannot change, and this is this is my answer to your question, Caleb. We were successful. We ran the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times with Elijah Gilliam for positive yards and got down to the 4, starting at the 27. We run for a loss of 1. Someone got scared. We can't do that. Okay, so yes, you're right. The play calling was not good there because you continue to run the ball with Gilliam and Donaldson. You're on the 5. It's 2nd and goal. Run the ball. And you ran the ball to get there. Continue running the ball. Not with Joshua Wood. Let's put our faith in Elijah Gilliam and Donaldson, who have been, or especially Gilliam, who had been carrying you that entire drive. So to me, yes, that was frustrating. I don't know what the thought process was behind that. If they thought we were tired or they wanted to open things up a little bit from the 5. I don't like that. Run the ball with Gilliam. I don't know, Caleb.
I mean, I agree.
I don't know much.
Seemed like we should have just trusted the guys that are getting positive yardage. Just run the rock. Let's try to move the pile.
Yep. I mean, it's the same thing for the interception. And was that in the 3rd quarter when Mikey? I mean, it was the first play of the drive. We come out throwing the ball. Like, we're up by 3. I think there was like 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Let's run the ball. Like, we've been doing well. We'll just continue to run the ball. But I will say, first half, like I said earlier, Mikey was good at getting the ball out quick, but it has to be quick. Mikey cannot take a full 5-step drop, load up and throw it. He doesn't have the time. And then 2, I don't know if he's going to step up or if he's going to roll out. Like, I'm not sure yet because it hasn't consistently happened. So let's just continue to run the ball. There's your answer. Let's run the ball. So yes, on that drive in particular, we could chalk it up to play calling. But in my opinion, I think it's more so execution. So I spent a long time on that. Let me get to the chat really quick. I'm curious to see what they said. Were the Chris Lake? It's not play calling. It's play execution. This is why I like Chris, man. That's always the problem. Sierra Nevada Sam, we are in a grind season. It's going to be a grind each week, so buckle up. Remember when we started 1-4 in 2022, 1 Mountain West title and 1 LA Bowl. Stay tuned. Sierra Nevada Sam, yes, that is true. Our starting quarterback was out in that for a stint there. I'm a little more nervous about this and the fact that UNLV and Boise are very good. And it's kind of out of our hands now because we need UNLV to lose twice. Do we need Boise to lose twice too?
Well, Boise's undefeated in conference play, so we're going to need them.
Beats Boise, what happens? And we win out.
There's going to have to be some sort of secondary tiebreaker because, I don't know what would break the tie or it might be like head-to-head opponents. I don't know. We'll have to get the stats department on the conference policy on tiebreakers. But, I mean, if it's common opponents and both teams have lost to UNLV, then maybe it's like point differential in that game, if that's the case, that's a bad sign for the Bulldogs because I think we lost by like 40.
Bulldogs Bob, Wood should come in for short yardage situations. We've seen him come in in the past couple games and be very successful. And I agree. Like, I like it. But I think what happened, I'm going to chalk it up to just we lost a yard. Elijah Gilliam loses a yard. Then Joshua Wood comes in. They want to change things up really quick. Joshua Wood loses a yard. They're like, oh my gosh, we have to make something happen. We got to throw the ball. No, we don't have to. Either run it with Woods again. You have a whole playbook just for Joshua Wood. Let's do something with that. Or run the ball with Gilliam. Feels like there isn't a consistent strategy from Andrew. What's going on, Andrew? Do we trust Mikey? Do we not? Should we be leading into running it or not? Frustrating. True. Yes. I don't know. Bulldogs Bob, I disagree. Most of Keene's picks have been from defense reading his eyes and jumping routes. Coaches don't trust Keene. You got a point, Bob, because Keene stares down wide receivers. Colorado, San Diego, still 2-0 in Conference 2. Oh, that's right. Oh, man. No, we need UNLV or Boise to lose twice. More than likely the Rebs, since they won't beat Boise. I agree. I think Boise is legit. Nice. So that's what we're shooting for. Offense did just enough. Glad the defense made adjustments in the second half and special teams. The difference definitely won the field position battle. Big, big win. I agree. Huge win. Caleb, if we don't get this win, what happens with the Red Wave?
It's certainly not a sellout for homecoming, that's for sure. I mean, thankfully we don't have to really wonder about this, but I mean, yeah, if the Dogs don't lose this, then you got to worry about, team buy-in and, our players going to start just, going easy, or I don't know. Just thankfully Bulldogs won, so we don't have to worry about that. But good point about the field position, because it did always seem like Nevada was playing from so far back in their own territory, and the Bulldogs were always kind of playing around midfield. So I think that definitely played a difference.
Yes. Sierra Nevada Sam, I saw him posting these, and I want you guys to comment on this. Exactly what we needed. Beat a gritty Nevada team at home, limited mistakes, played aggressive, allowed defense to shine. Think this team and coaching staff are finding their way. Big game Saturday with a 5 p.m. start. Have to make up for last year's San Jose State loss. Oh, that's right. Oh, that was brutal. Go Dogs. Okay, 2024 Fresno State season overview. And he's been modifying this. I've been watching you, Sierra Nevada Sam, so which is good. I like this. Okay, he says dream season, college football playoffs, which not going to happen. Tier 2, great season, win Mountain West Championship, LA Bowl, and the Guarantee Rate Bowl, which we play Big 12 opponent. It says good season, Hawaii Bowl, Armed Forces Bowl, Arizona Bowl, G5 opponents. Average season, New Mexico Bowl, famous Idaho Potato Bowl, because we're just so sick and tired of those bowls. And then Tier 5, it's called the development stage, no bowl invitation. What do you guys think about this? Caleb, what are your thoughts on Sierra Nevada Sam? Should he adjust it anywhere, or what do you think?
That seems about right. Anything we can do to avoid going to New Mexico or having to play on the blue turf. So I just really would not like to go to either of those games. And I mean, same with Hawaii too. I mean, maybe it's a fun experience for players to get to spend a couple of days in Hawaii, but it always seems to be kind of a weird game. And I mean, historically they play on Christmas Eve, which has got to be kind of tough for players and their families if they're trying to spend time with their families on Christmas. But I guess it could be a fun experience.
Oh, and I was going back and forth with Sierra Nevada Sam as well about a G5 playoff, because I think I was going back and forth with a couple people in the chat actually about this, because I just, like, in general, Caleb, like, yes, I love the Bulldogs, but what do these bowl games mean? Even the LA Bowl and the Rate Bowl, we played P4 teams, but like when we played Washington State, most of their players sat out. We're going to see a lot of that, I think. And then the other bowls, just like, man, I'm going to watch it, but even if they're not my team, I'm not watching it. So in my opinion, I would rather have a G5 playoff I know we're not competing for like the big national championship, but in my view, we'd still make a lot of money. Because I'm sure ESPN would buy the rights to that real quick. I know some people would say it's the NIT of the college football playoff. But I think, you have players like JT in there. You have an undefeated Liberty, because this is what's going to happen is you're going to have a one-loss Mountain West Boise champ or a one-loss UNLV champ or Mountain West champ. And then you're going to have an undefeated Liberty. And then you're going to have somebody, Army and Navy, somebody from the American win that with one loss, or Army and Navy go undefeated and win that. And now you got 3 teams. What do you do? Like, who do you invite? I mean, of course you invite Boise because they're the better team. But you go undefeated, you deserve it. You beat who's in front of you. I don't know, Caleb. I would much rather see, Army, Navy, Boise, UNLV, Fresno State, James Madison, everybody, Memphis, all playing against each other. I know this is a tangent, but I don't know. I think that would be more fun.
I definitely agree that the bowl games are pretty meaningless at this point, and I think that just more players are going to be opting out as long as the transfer portal is still very prevalent. So yeah, I think that anything you can do to make postseason games matter, I'm all for. But yeah, I think that's going to be tough for teams that are kind of on the border, like 6-6, 7-5. Getting them to get fired up about going to Albuquerque is kind of a tough task.
Let's see. I'm scrolling back up. Okay, here we go. Bulldogs Bob. I like Sam's idea. Playoffs are out, but if we got to the Mountain West Conference game, championship game, I think we get a bowl against a P4 team. It would be fun to beat SC in the LA Bowl after beating UCLA to end Thanksgiving. That would be nice. I'm always down.
That would be cool.
Bill L. I'm late. What's going on, Bill? Did I miss the Boise State badmouthing yet? No, it's hard to badmouth you guys because you have the Heisman favorite, and looks like a demon standing back there. Have you seen how he stands back there, Caleb?
Yeah, yeah. Not super athletic, but then a menace.
Yeah, we'll find something to say about. We never talk good about the turf. We'll never praise the turf. It's never. We will badmouth that all day. All right, Bulldogs Bob. No more New Mexico Bowls, please. I'm with you. If we have to go to a bowl against a D5 team, let's go to the Frisco Bowl in Texas or bowl in Florida. We have a lot of fans in the Dallas area. Okay, or in Florida. Okay. I didn't know that. Chris Lake, my big worry will be if the Dogs in the year down is the potential exodus of players into the transfer portal. Agree, especially when you have an interim coach. Would be a sign of how players feel about the coaching and the direction of Fresno State. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. I should finish reading your stuff before I interject because you're finished. Yeah, sorry. Ricky, Liberty, I don't think will make it after canceling App State. Likely will be between Army, Navy, Boise. I'm curious to see, did North Texas and Memphis play this weekend, or do they play next weekend? Because I know they're both one-loss teams, and those are both pretty good teams in the American. I think JMU is a one-loss team out of the Sun Belt, but I'm with you, Ricky. Army, Navy, Boise right now. If UNLV beats Boise, flip it to UNLV. An NIT type tournament would be ridiculous, in my opinion. Thanks, Bradley. I'd much rather prefer an upset type system that we have now. But again, that's my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I want to compete for national championship. Don't get me wrong. But I'm trying to think realistically here. Even if Army, let's just say Army goes undefeated, Boise wins one game, one of them is going to get left out. And I don't want that. I want everybody to have a shot to play for a national championship. Like I say, I'm not a socialist until it comes to college football. Let's share the love here. You win your conference and are undefeated, you should get a shot.
Well, Caleb, I think you're forgetting something very important about the future of Fresno State football. As a member of the Pac-12 conference, maybe there's a chance that there's an automatic tie-in for that prestigious conference.
I hope. I just don't see that happening. with the who's the best team? It's Boise. I think it's just a little bit better G5 conference. I hate to say that, but I don't know if they would. Like the Big Ten and SEC are going to gatekeep everything, and I just don't see them allowing another conference bid to the Pac-12. I just don't. I would love that, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Ricky, hard to make players care about bowl games anymore. I don't see it becoming a priority unless it's a major game. Yeah. If we get an auto bid in the Pac, then obviously my opinion is superfluous, Bradley says. Andrew, we diverge on this point, Nail. If you aren't competing for a national championship, then why even take the field?
True. Yeah, that's fair.
My point exactly. So let's compete for a G5 national championship, because even if we go undefeated, if Army goes undefeated, they're not going to get in. They're going to put Boise in. Long live the blue. No, never. Okay. Where was I? All right. We're never going to get through this. All right. Let's keep going. This is great. Well, as we end week 8, we can update our checklist. 2 wins away from bowl eligibility, and we can officially take the college football playoffs off the checklist. Yes. So before people set themselves on fire, we have so much to play for going into week 9. Let's see what he's got here. Okay. This is his list. Let's keep going. I agree. Sam. Let's keep. We're gonna have to keep adjusting it. By the way, Truth Seeker offense did not fix the turnover problem. 3rd down conversions are a problem. True. We didn't talk about that. OT opened running lanes a bus could drive through. Do you mean O-line? O-L? I'm not. We only have 1 loss in conference play, thus still plenty to play for. Caleb, 3rd down conversions. I mean, when we get in 3rd down, it's usually 3rd and long. We're not helping Mikey out anyway with these. So, I mean, thoughts on 3rd down conversions?
Yeah, kind of poor this game. I think we were 4 for 12, and I did see a stat on TV that Nevada's 3rd down defense was like worst or second worst in the nation. So, not great that we weren't able to capitalize on that. But I mean, for the most part this season, we've been okay on 3rd down. But yeah, certainly need to be better and get into more manageable 3rd downs in terms of yardage to go.
Sorry. I realized I didn't click show. Okay, there we go. McCann still has very questionable play calling. This is from Doug. Off still doesn't look good, specifically in the passing game. Mikey throws his annual interception or weekly interception on poor decision making. A win is a win, but offense was ugly. Yes, Rudy, the coaches no longer trust Mikey. You could tell by the second half play calling. We mentioned this. He is now the national leader in interceptions. Oh, I saw this for starting quarterbacks. The guy that was above him, has been benched. I think it was the ECU quarterback. He's been benched. Now Mikey leads the country in picks. I just don't think that the options. I wouldn't mind seeing Joshua Wood, and I've said it before. And I went on Watch Your Lips last week and said something has to change, and if that's Joshua Wood coming in, changing play calling and whatever, I'm fine. But Caleb, is what is behind Mikey going to improve? Like be honest with me. If we put Wood or Mandel, is it going to improve?
I mean, it's really hard to know. I think that we have a whole new dimension to the offense if it's Joshua Wood, because, the defense has to respect his running ability. And then, does that make throwing easier if they bring another guy into the box to try to protect that? So, yeah, I mean, it could really open things up if that's something that the defense has to respect. But, we really don't know anything about Wood's accuracy. Is he able to read the defense, look off a safety? We just don't know because he hasn't had the opportunities to throw. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get those answers right now as long as Keene is still healthy. So, yes, I don't know. I like to think that could be better just because of that extra wrinkle. If it is Wood, that would be coming in full time.
Donnie says, not sure what to make of this team. Play calling down the stretch, suspect, first goal at the 3 and come away with no points. Give defense credit. Ricky, I know Ricky's in the chat. Other than 2 big plays, defense played nearly lights out. Scramblers still an issue. Offense needs to utilize the run, but it's got to start with either consistent quarterback play or better play calling. Yes, but a bounce back is a bounce back, and score doesn't show how dominant this game was. It's got to start with either consistent quarterback play or better play calling. That's the key there, because otherwise you can't set up the run. Mike Pletz, that's a familiar last name. Second half shutout. D played well. Special teams shined. Hey, man of few words. Keep it simple. I like that. His son would never do a podcast where he's talking the whole time. Robert Polvado, if we beat Hoser next week, we have a chance to win a Mountain West title. Real quick, Bulldogs Bob, is that you? Is that you? One-sided war. Defense really stepped up in second half. Offense has no faith in Keene, limiting possibilities. Team remains undisciplined with too many stupid penalties. This is where we'll end it, Caleb, with X, penalties. We had 6 penalties for 46 yards, some just dumb. Thoughts on the discipline there?
Overall, much better than the previous game. So we'll look positive first. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple penalties, like I mentioned, that I feel like we got away with. The TV broadcast was certainly pointing that out, that Fresno State was getting kind of lucky. But, I mean, overall, there wasn't really anything glaring, like any malicious. I guess maybe Dean Clark, but I don't think he was trying to target the guy. That was just a football play and kind of bad luck. But, I mean, no celebration penalties, so I'll take that as a positive.
True. I still think we got to clean it up. We have to clean this up. Caleb, do you have Instagram?
I do.
What were they saying over there? It's funny to actually see the crowd, the difference. Like one is more fired up than the other usually.
Definitely, yeah. A few fewer responses on Instagram, but redwave_report says, felt like the coaching staff wanted us to lose in the second half. Questionable calls. He adds, defense played elite in the second half, back-to-back weeks. Offense left them out to dry again. Let's see. Kern River Floater says, TBH, it feels like we shouldn't have won this game, but a win's a win. Good bounce back W. And then he adds, it felt in the fourth quarter our offense was giving Nevada too many chances to come back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Randall says Keene needs to be benched.
Okay.
MSalt85 says, happy for this win, go Dogs, but this team is not great. Hoping for a good bowl. Okay. Diego says, feels like an interim year. Close wins versus teams that aren't great. Let the coaching search begin. Oh, ominous. Our friend Randy Price, win is a win. Defense was insane again. Good momentum in the next week. You can always count us the positive from Randy. Thank you. Everin says, got lucky. Terrible call not to take the 3 points toward the end. I do kind of want to touch on this. I mean, obviously in hindsight, you wasn't a deal, but even getting the lead up to 6 points, it seems like that was kind of the no-brainer. After already converting 1 4th down, it's like, okay, maybe we got lucky. Let's just take some points. But what was your takeaway or thought on not taking the points?
My thought is being up 6, like you force them to score a touchdown. They haven't been able to score, but that's where my thought process went, was our defense has been so good. Let's force them to go the full length of the field to beat us, which they hadn't really been able to do. So that's why I didn't mind it. But I get it. But that's
I mean, you can spin it as Skipper is 100% bought in, confident in his team. Like he's going to keep the ball in his team's hand and trust his team to go make a play and put the game out of reach. So I guess you can kind of give some credit there, but maybe the analytics would say differently. Keep going. Cashian John says special teams and D won the game. Correct. All Whack 55 Stovall. He says, let's talk about fans. We have too many fans who have Wagyu taste with Sizzler steak effort. What do you say to that?
I agree with him. I agree. I think there's no excuse for us to do stuff like this, podcast, things like that, and then not show up and support, and then or talk smack and never go to a game. I know lots of people that do that. Like I'm a Fresno State fan. Okay. They're not involved whatsoever. And they don't even listen to the pod. They could at least listen to the pod to know what's going on and why we're struggling. But they don't even do that. So I'm trying to get them. But I agree. Now it's not all, because the people that listen to Blair Bulldogs it's no one here, because people here are diehards. But it's our friends, right, that come to us and say, why is Fresno State so bad? Like, well, did you go to the game? Or they're talking smack, like we need to bench Mikey. Like, okay, they may be right? I don't know. They may be right, but they've never been to a game. And then they don't even listen to the pod. It's what kills me every time. They don't even know the quarterback's name or the second. Okay, who do you want in to come in for Mikey? I don't know. Who do we have? If you listen to Blair Bulldogs, we mentioned 3 quarterbacks every episode. So
very true. I think that there's a lot of people who just like to be downers on Fresno State, and especially on Skipper, and thinking that it's his fault that the team stinks, and maybe some decisions are his fault, but a lot of it, going back to something someone in the chat said earlier, it's all about execution. So the coaches look a lot better when the players are able to execute on all the plays.
Right. Well, and when it goes bad for Fresno State, there's always going to be critique from the Red Wave, as there should be. Right? Because they're in the business of winning games, right? They got to figure it out. If they don't figure it out, then things have to change. That's their job. Okay. Now, and what I don't like is when we get blasted, like the fan base gets blasted for being critical, because I think there is a time that it is warranted. So I want people to know that. And then 2, Kip, I don't know about you, but I would love for Fresno State to do well and Skip get the job, because he's from Fresno. And I don't want this place to be a stepping stone, because to be honest, that's what Fresno State is. It's a stepping stone. I've talked to former coaches, like, yeah, it's just most people are there to springboard into their career at a higher level. I don't want that. And that's why I appreciate Tedford, Pat Hill, and Tim Skipper would be the next in line, because this is home for him. So, and he played here. He's a great player. He's such a great guy. I want him to get that job. But if we don't win, then I think it's important for the fan base to say, hey, we need to go somewhere else. Because that's who's paying. That's not who's signing the check, but that's basically who's paying these people, right? Anyways, that's my rant. I'll let you finish, Caleb. Sorry.
All right. Last one on Instagram from Lake Ness Monster. Donaldson needs to be the lead running back from here on out.
Can't argue with that. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Let's get to the live chat. Okay. It fell behind here. Even if Wood doesn't have great eye discipline, Mikey isn't showing an ability to rectify his turnover issue, from Andrew. So, meaning, might need to go somewhere else. It's not going to hurt to try. Sierra Nevada Sam, San Jose State and Colorado State are going to be games to mark on the calendar. If we keep chipping away, those are going to be big games. I think really every game from here on out, because who knows what Fresno State Bulldog football team we're going to get week in and week out. Wood is also bigger and taller. You can see over the O-line. Wood brings a new profound energy. Okay. Phoenix Jackson needs to play more. Philly Ocean. What's going on, Philly Ocean? Please get Acevedo involved more as well and run the ball. Okay, so based on everything, Sam says, if our goal is to get into a Mountain West title game, who are we rooting for on Friday in Vegas? Who's got the best chance of losing 2 conference games after Friday?
It's a really good question. I think that just in general, sorry, Bill, but I will always root against Boise. So I will be cheering for UNLV, and the conference implications will work themselves out.
I honestly think that there could be 2 slip-ups from Boise, just based on the fact that they're one-dimensional, in my opinion. If they can shut down Jainty, which no one has figured out yet, so that's going to be the hard part. Even Oregon, who beat them, couldn't figure Jainty out. But if they could figure out to beat Jainty and they have to rely on Madsen, then I think you have an opportunity to beat them, where UNLV can beat you in so many different ways offensively. And I think UNLV has a better defense.
Looking at Boise's schedule coming up, after UNLV, they host San Diego State. They'll take care of business there. They host Reno. They'll handle them. They have to go to San Jose State. So that's probably their other possible slip-up game. San Jose is going to put up some points, and that one should be interesting. Then they go to Wyoming. Wyoming stinks, so they'll take care of them. And then last game is Oregon State, and that's not a conference game. So it's really UNLV and San Jose, I think, are the actual opportunities for Boise to lose.
Austin has a question. What's going on, Austin? Out of all teams, who would you guys want to see the Dogs play in the championship game if they get there? Boise. I want to be.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to beat Boise in the championship. That just makes it sweeter.
Yeah. Kevin, what's going on, Kevin? Was at the game, had fun. Who knows when we will play in Reno again? Could be years. True. I didn't even think about that. Who knows when we'll play Reno again? Or in Reno again. Go Dogs. So pumped for Saturday. Beat San Jose. Bulldogs Bob, no excuse for this weekend to not be a sellout. I agree. And it's blackout. Ricky, whether it be basketball or football, we will always find a way to criticize once the team is down. Always. Okay, boys, have any thoughts on where Pac-12 is going for another football program? Make Gonzaga start one. That's I don't know. Thoughts, Caleb?
I really don't know. I'd like to keep it more regional, but I don't really know what's realistic. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really thought about it a ton, but would Utah or Colorado come back? No. That would be cool to have. So, I don't even know who's a realistic opportunity to come with us. So you probably have some thoughts on this that I'd be interested to hear.
Because we have some time to get teams, I think that a team from the American comes in, whether Memphis, Tulane, those names were thrown around. They're just waiting to see what's going to go down. A team from Texas. I've literally heard almost every team that has been thrown out there. Right? I heard Rice, UTSA, Texas State, North Texas. Now that they're decent this year, pretty good. I think Memphis and Tulane probably are the schools like from the American that we're looking at. And then after Arizona got blasted by Colorado yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if the Arizona schools come back. And then now I know it's about money, but I'm curious to see what Stanford and Cal do. I've heard both sides of it where they would never do that again. But can they realistically keep up with all that travel and everything? I'm curious. I'm going to keep up with it this year because I want to. My dad's a Stanford alum, so we keep up with Stanford. But I'm curious to see how those programs do and if it's worth it for them. Basically, my point is travel around, but that could be a long shot. So, I think you're going to have to pull from either G5 conference or FCS because we've heard Sac State is pushing for it. So it's going to be really hard to pull a team from a P4 TV deal. So, anyways, that's my thought on that. Okay. If you want to hear critique, check out a USC or Florida State vlog. Okay, it's turning into a good basketball conference. Yes, that's true. I'm excited to see Gonzaga in the Save Center. At this rate, I'm waiting for UCLA to claw back. That's true. I want to see schools like Utah and Arizona State, who didn't want to leave the conference, come home. ESPN can help with that if we can make a deal with them. I'm a little worried, to be honest, with leadership in the Pac-12. After what I've seen over the past couple of weeks, I'm not plugged in with the conference side of things. The only person we've ever spoke to is Gloria Navarez, and she probably hates our guts now. So I don't think she wants to talk to us, but we'll see. What's going on, Reese? Glad you're tuning in. Okay, Caleb. Bulldogs Bob agrees with you. Keep the Pac regional, get to 8 teams, get a solid media deal, and I'd be surprised if many of the old Pac teams don't start to consider coming back. Andrew says, I agree. And Bill says no former Pac teams will come back. Big 12 pays a lot more than a new Pac deal. Pac deal will get. I would not be surprised with that. Yes. Okay. Let's get back to this game, Caleb. How about this?
Let's get a play of the player of the game and wrap this thing up.
Yeah, we'll go to bed. Play of the game. What you got?
Kind of torn. I think I'm gonna go the 2 punt sacks. I mean, that really made the difference.
Yep.
And I think without that, it's a different game, and maybe the Bulldogs aren't able to muster up enough points. So I think special teams getting those 2 punt sacks, that's made the difference.
I'm going to go with the screen pass to Gilliam.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the drive to take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And so that set it up there. So I'm going to take that screenplay. Player of the game, who you got? And drop your player of the game and play of the game in the comment section as well. Who you got, Caleb?
I think you got to go Malachi. I mean, just for pure numbers and playing most of the game, playing more than I think he has in the past. He, been rotated out a little bit in the last couple of games, but stepping up, senior leader, and gobbling up a whole bunch of tackles and making plays and getting some sacks too. So Malachi, my player of the game.
I'm going to go with, hold on, I got to find it. Guy Gillespie.
Yes.
That is punter. Thank you for not getting the ball off.
Yes.
No, I'm with you, Malachi. I'm going to give it to Malachi. I was, since you in defense, I was trying to think offense. If I'm going to give it to offensive players, it's going to be Elijah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Malachi is the guy. 13 total tackles, 2 sacks. I mean, he was a force. So let's see. I'm seeing Malachi. Elijah, offensive player of the game. Defensive player, Langley, split with Miller. 70-yard screen run play of the game I'm seeing in here. So, yeah, a lot of Malachi Langley. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's really another way to go. Caleb, anything else for this game? Did we forget anything? Oh, I saw it in the chat. Yes, there's something. Saw in the chat. Sam wanted a breakdown for your dance in Allegiant. What was going through your mind? Like, what if you didn't see it? I think it's on Twitter. You can check it out on X.
What I was thinking was, I can't believe I'm dancing before a game that we could lose, and we ended up losing. So, yes, I did feel a little bit responsible for maybe putting a hex on our team for doing a pregame dance. But I did want to fulfill the promise that I did have to deliver after the Bulldogs got a shutout. So tried to keep it short and sweet. Allegiant was very cool, so glad that we got to do it there. But yes, will not be doing a pregame dance ever again.
Hey man, I thought it was good.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of courage to do something like that. I look up to you for doing that, man, especially pregame.
Thank you.
That was good. I can't say I'm going to compliment your dance moves, but it was fun, and that's what we're all about: smiling, laughing, having a good time. So at least you had that before the game,
right? Exactly.
Oh man! All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate. Oh boy, it's gonna be GIF soon. GIF, whatever it's called. I have some people. Sam saying it's gonna be a nominee for GIF of the year. I don't know how to say it.
Perfect.
All right, everybody. I appreciate everybody tuning in and sticking around this long, an hour 20. This might be a record, Caleb, for our longest live stream. We needed this one. Bulldogs back in the win column. Now it's time to take down the Spartans, bring that trophy back to Fresno. Valley? Come on, get out of here. It's San Jose. That's not the Valley. Get out of here. If you're close to the ocean, it's not the Valley. Anyways, it's game week. Thank you guys for sticking around. Hey, for God so loved the world, he sent his one and only son, Jesus Christ, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. You guys have any questions about Fresno State, Jesus, or you want to hang out, you want to come out to the winery, Chivoli Winery, you got some property that you need taken care of, hit up ManageX, managex.net. We'd love to talk. We love talking sports and Jesus and having a good time. So, and follow us on X, Beware_Bulldogs, on Instagram, Beware Bulldogs Podcast, and subscribe on YouTube so that when you go live, hit the notification. When we go live, you'll get notified if you hit the notification bell. So hit that, comment down below. Appreciate you guys. Hey, as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.